Oh boy, the NFL. It feels like the league that never sleeps. It's always got headlines. It is one of a kind. Well, I guess it's because it's the billion-dollar industry, right? The number one sports in North America by far. So today I'm just gonna do, I guess, a little pre-predictions of the quarterback carousel for this year. I know last year I did one. This year, just, we gonna see, because I feel like there's definitely gonna be a number of quarterbacks available out there for plenty of teams that need one. And so yeah, we gonna get into it. But before we do, just want to let you know that the NFL has certain dates here. So like for example, right now this is the franchise / transition tag window, meaning teams that have their own free agents right now, they're trying to negotiate, and if they can't get to a resolution with a player, they have the ability to franchise tag them or transition tag, to keep them from getting into free agency. So that's sort of the period that we're at right now. That's happening until March 7th. Also next week, from the 28th to March 6th, you got the NFL Combine happening. Then you got pro days happening between March 7th and the 31st for, particular prospects. Then you got the legal tampering period between March 13th and the 15th. And March 15th, I think at 4 p.m. Eastern time, that's when free agency officially begins. So we're about less than 3 weeks away from that happening. And it's coming up already. All right, so there are at least 10 to 12 teams here that I feel like that's going to have a new quarterback next year, one way or another. As we know, Derek Carr is available now. We know that Tennessee released a few players yesterday, including Robert Woods. They created a bunch of cap space. I feel like Tennessee is probably going to be in the quarterback carousel as well. And, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be available. There's plenty of names out there, right? So, the first team on my list is the team with the number 2 overall pick in this year's draft, and that's the Houston Texans. Right now, they have Davis Mills as their quarterback. And if I'm being completely honest here, I'm pretty positive his days as a starter are over. He showed slight flashes of being able to compete, but I don't think it was enough. And I'm pretty sure Houston feels the exact same way. And once again, shout out to Lovie Smith for doing what he did the last week of the season, for making Houston win that game against the Colts, and allowing my Chicago Bears to get the number 1 overall pick. Shout out to Lovie Smith, probably the biggest win for his Bears career right there. Anyway, all right, so if I'm the Houston Texans, I'm finding a way to get Bryce Young in this draft, meaning if I were them, they probably need to trade up with my Bears. Go ahead, trade up one spot so you can get your boy Bryce Young. They need a quarterback. They need a lot of things, but you got to start, at the center, at the head, which is a quarterback. This is a quarterback-driven league. Without a quarterback, you are not competing. Let me repeat. This is a quarterback-driven league. Without a quarterback, you are not competing. Point blank, period. So, Bryce Young, I guess, checks all the boxes except for his stature, being 5'10", 5'11", weighing $195. I guess that's the only knock on the man. Other than that, he checks everything else. So, I think Houston makes that move. Next up on my list is the Indianapolis Colts. I feel like maybe, just maybe, they've learned their lesson. Instead of, getting used car parts here to replace the quarterback, that they had in Andrew Luck from a few years ago. Maybe I think this time around they actually go draft a quarterback. I think they're going to go draft Ohio State C.J. Stroud, and he's going to be their starter week 1. Yeah, so the Matt Ryan experiment didn't work. Carson Wentz experiment definitely didn't work. It was working into the last couple weeks of this season, and that failed miserably. Phillip Rivers, I mean, at least he got him to the playoffs, right? He did do that. And he didn't turn the ball over as much. But, nevertheless, they haven't had the same success since Andrew Luck. So yeah, I really believe they'll draft the quarterback. C.J. Stroud, to me, is the next best quarterback on the board. But, there's talk about Will Levis. As we know, as we get closer to the draft, names and prospects are going to float up and down the draft board. So, as of right now, in February, this is what I have. Next on my list, the Tennessee Titans. The team that look like it's having a fire sale, releasing players left and right. There's even rumors of, dare I even say, Derrick Henry might be a cap casualty here as well. So, yeah, as far as the Titans, I know they just hired personnel from the 49ers. Can't think of his name, but he's the new GM. I'm thinking Trey Lance gets traded to the Titans. As we know, Ryan Tannehill, even though he was hurt, he wasn't cutting it anymore. And I can go into a whole spiel about the Tennessee Titans. I can. And I've been going in on the Tennessee Titans ever since, they decided to stick with Ryan Tannehill and ended up trading A.J. Brown away. So I'll leave them alone for that, because it looks like they're learning the hard way right now from that lesson. But, yeah, Tannehill isn't working out anymore. What's his name? The quarterback they just drafted out of Liberty last year, Willis. He's just very raw. Josh Dobbs, who's been a journeyman in this league, came in and played better than Tannehill in the last couple weeks of the season to give them a chance. He did. So I think Trey Lance would probably be the move. That's what I'm thinking right now. Ceiling is so much higher than everybody else on that team. Just a fresh start. So that's what I'm thinking. The Carolina Panthers, they will definitely be looking for a quarterback here. I think it's going to be Will Levis out of Kentucky. Apparently he checks all the boxes of an NFL quarterback without the productivity in college. So, yeah, as weird as that sounds, that's what it is. His stock is rising day by day somehow. But hey, at the end of the day, if he turns out to be the pro that these teams think that he will be, then by all means, go get your guy. If this is your guy, do what you got to do to get your guy. Point blank, period. All right, so apparently, like every team in the NFC South is going to need a quarterback. The New Orleans Saints. Yeah, Jameis ain't panning out. I feel like he didn't even get a fair chance, per se. Andy Dalton, that rusty rifle needs to be put down. So we know that they talked with Derek Carr, in the hopes of trying to trade for Derek Carr there. They invited him in, met with him. At the end of the day, Derek Carr just wanted his release to get his freedom to see what else is out there. I think the Saints will try to go after Lamar Jackson. I don't think Lamar Jackson at this point is going to be coming back to the Baltimore Ravens. It just seems like the sides are, too far apart. They can't get anything accomplished. I mean, the last two contracts that I think of that I blame for this is Deshaun Watson's 100% guaranteed contract at $231, and Kyler Murray's deal as well, when he didn't, in my opinion, didn't deserve to get the bag as soon as he did. And I think now the Cardinals are, paying for it. Yeah, so I think Lamar Jackson goes to the Saints. And if he doesn't go to the Saints, I think he's going to a team in the NFC South regardless. That's where I'm at. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we know, the GOAT Tom Brady retired. But even if he didn't retire, I don't think he was coming back to Tampa Bay anyway. They're in transition. They definitely need a quarterback. Now, right now, I think it might be Taylor Heineke, the former quarterback of the Commanders. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see these other two names appear. A reunion with Jameis Winston. Or possibly Geno Smith. If, Seattle doesn't bring him back for whatever reason, which I think they will, but we'll see there. The Falcons. I'm thinking Jimmy G goes to Atlanta. And my only, strong reason for that is the familiarity of the system that they run. It's pretty similar to Kyle Shanahan's system, so he could be a plug and play down there. And probably a transition quarterback for that franchise right now. Now, I know Ritter wasn't too bad, but, maybe they need some more veteran leadership outside of Marcus Mariota, who was an epic fail and probably the worst teammates of all time. I mean, how the man lose his job, Powell, and just walks away from the team? That's very selfish and trash of an individual in a team sport. So yeah. The Raiders. So I think the Raiders are, at the end of the day, are actually going to stick with who they had in at the last couple games of the year, and that's Jarrett Stidham, who didn't actually look too bad under Josh McDaniels there. He didn't. So we'll see what happens there. The Baltimore Ravens, since I have Lamar Jackson leaving, I think they'll be stuck with Tyler Huntley, who last season didn't look the greatest, but 2 years ago, he didn't look half bad. So I don't know what Huntley's going to show up. But apparently, I don't think they just fell in Lamar Jackson like that. Weird within itself. All right, the Green Bay Packers. So, Aaron Rodgers went on a darkness retreat and collecting himself, and I don't know. It's like the way Aaron Rodgers is acting now, towards the end of his quote-unquote Packers career, is very similar to how Brett Favre was acting. Brett Favre, the last couple of years before he departed, didn't know if he wanted to stay or retire or go, and it put Aaron Rodgers in limbo. And it seemed like history repeating itself because he's putting Jordan Love in limbo because of he don't know what he wants to do. But nevertheless, I think heading into next year, Jordan Love is their quarterback. And we do not know too much about Jordan Love, but the sample size so far is not impressive. But nevertheless, hey, I feel like they're turning the page. Well, even, the Bears fandom within me hope they turn the page a little bit. So, nevertheless, Jordan Love, I think, is their guy. All right, I got two more teams left. The New York Jets, who are essentially a quarterback away from being a real contender here. Because as we know, the Disney Channel quarterback, Zach Wilson, that whole sitcom has probably got canceled here. He's not panning out. And then you got the great Mike White who comes in. Actually, I like the guy. I like Mike White. I like the gunslinger mentality. He plays like there's no tomorrow. I like it. But I do feel like they're going to upgrade because they feel like they are that close. They have Plenty of weapons on offense. The defense is there. The coach is there. Special teams look good. Plug and play. Insert quarterback. You are a contender. I think they will do what they need to do to go get Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers ends up a New York Jet. And hey, and history will definitely be repeating itself on that one. Because as we know, Brett Favre went from the Green Bay Packers to the New York Jets. Exactly what happened. And then the last team, the Washington Commanders. I'm pretty sure Commander Carson's going to be relieved of his duties there. He was not impressive at all. Taylor Heineke, I feel like he gave them more of a spark than anything. And somehow he came in at the last game of the year. He didn't look half bad. Now, I don't know if that was just bad. Dallas a good Sam Howell. I mean, but there's probably a good chance that Sam Howell might end up being the starter in our next year. But any event that he doesn't, and they, looking for a quarterback to set them apart, to, push them a little forward here, I'm going Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a good fit for what they're trying to do. Derek Carr raises the ceiling at that position that they haven't had in a very long time. But, once again, with all of these picks and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 teams that I went through, remember, this is just February. I'm going to go over this list again right before free agency. These picks may change. They probably will. But this list right here gives me the most warm and fuzzies at the moment. And I'll keep tabs to see how many that I get correct. But nevertheless, we are looking at least a dozen teams to change quarterbacks in this offseason, one way or another. That's a lot. But what did I say at the beginning? This is a quarterback-driven league. Without a quarterback, you are not competing. You are not. I mean, ask my double doink team from a couple years ago. We ain't been the same since. Good record, but the quarterback play wasn't there. If we had a competent quarterback, maybe, just maybe. You know what? Never mind. But you get what I'm saying, right? I mean, all the teams that practically made the playoffs have a quarterback this past year. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let me know your thoughts. So at this point, we will conclude. So continue to rock with your boy right here on the No Offense Radio and No Offense Network. Check me out on social media at JGoodWithSports. We're talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Check out the JGoodWithSports podcast. That's what we're on now. Sunday we'll get more into it. Find something else to, that's, going on in the sports world here. There's plenty of things. We'll just want to highlight, the fun stuff here. March Madness is coming, and I know what details are coming. Your boy just been dealing with a lot during this week, and I haven't got much accomplished like I wanted to, but hopefully I find time over the weekend to get things together and get you all situated. We still got a little bit more time. But until then, you all, stay safe, stay warm. We're almost in March, y'all. That means spring is around the corner. But nevertheless, let's get to the money. Until next time, peace.